r/AskReddit. What's a hobby someone can have that is an immediate red flag? Making see-through Lego men with mouse organs inside. People do that. That's ducked up. Specifically, mouse hearts and testicles. I don't remember what sub it was, but I saw a picture of it and I'm traumatized now. Well, reading the comments, I'm feeling better about my Warhammer collection. I feel like collecting and painting corn miniatures would be a bunch of red flags for me. I'd even say red banners. Blood for the blood god. Kids beauty pageants. I dated a girl in L. who had taken part in beauty pageants going back to when she was a kid. She had a good amount of success with it and she was most certainly a looker. But man, she was completely crippled with anxiety. Those pageants duck the girls up that start young. Normally the kind of mom who puts her daughter in pageants cares a lot about physical appearances. My old roommate used to go out driving on rainy days specifically to splash pedestrians. That seems pretty red flaggy to me. That's straight up evil. Yeah, it is. I remember taking the bus late one Saturday night after work to get Easter candy baskets and toys for my kids the next morning. The night before the bus came, someone purposely splashed me at the bus stop by veering into the large gutter puddle and everything was ruined. There was a post of a guy that was angry at his mother because her hobby was to find random people on the net, find everything about them and message them about it. My name is Betty. You don't know me. I'm a stranger on the internet. I know you work at Big Mike's Pizza 5 days per week. You have a dog named Muffin. You celebrated your 19th birthday last week. You don't have a girlfriend right now. You like porn. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you, but just wanted you to know. You live on Maple Street. Gentlemen, by the end of this meeting, you will all refer to me as Betty, followed by weird duck and laughing man. I miss Kung Pao. I should watch it again. Chicken go cluck cluck. Cow go moo. Pig go oink oink. How about you? Guy who spends hours each week on IG, commenting, liking and DMing random models they never met. IDK, running spontaneous Dungeons and Dragons game for random models seems pretty nice. Girls only like guys with great world crafting skills. Speed sewing Moroccan flags. Huge red flag. Flags. Cutting the eyes out of pictures of women in magazines. My son is a big fan of that as well. Next you'll tell me he has a collection of left hands. As a Magic the Gathering player, Magic the Gathering players made me stop liking Magic the Gathering. That's why I exclusively play with my friends. I like about 80% of them. Open bracket. There's only 5. Not Jeff, Josh or Matt. I did know a Josh at one point though. Running an MLM or being admin, dictator, of a local area Facebook group. Dude, I'm one of the mods in our local FB gardening group. So much drama in what I thought was a peaceful calming hobby. Yep, I see a lot of dictators in the few groups I've been in. But I feel like it's probably due to how shitty the members of the group are, most of the time, rather than them actually wanting to be a-holes. I have dated 2 horse girls in my life and both ended up very similar. Nay. I started riding when I was 7. There are horse girls, and then the other horse girls, and we're all named Laura. Source, Laura. Went to an all-girls riding summer camp. Suu Menaloris. Holy shit, you're right. The 3 Lauras in my middle school class were all into horses. Crushing Monster energy drinks and punching drywall. Edit. The replies of me cackling. No, my name is not Kyle. What did you just say to me, bro? Bro? Are you serious, bro? Family vlogging completely violate children's privacy. Using kids to shore up your own online presence is not okay. There are patents pimping their kids on OnlyFans, Patreon, etc. I watched 2 videos the other day exposing that PPL can buy our exclusive picture sets of several 8-14-year girls who are prominent on TikTok via parent-run accounts. They showed the metrics, and their viewers and buyers were like 75% males between the ages of 23-47. Ducking insane. The pics were blurred in the expose, of course. But the pics were said to be sexy bikini pics of little tween and teen girls. Disgusting shit. Even worse, the vast majority of viewers of kid-focused family vlogging are older men, And some of these parents have Patreons with exclusive content going for like hundreds of dollars, especially those channels where it's just their kid playing at a water park or trying on swimsuits. The comments are always absolutely disgusting. It's so ducked up. Edit. Guys, it's been written about like a million times. Here's an article. Here's another. Here's another. It is a very well-known phenomenon on YouTube, and you can find breakdowns of the viewer statistics in many articles and YouTube deep dives. Pageantry. Like taking your shirt off but leaving your sunglasses on? Do you want to fight with those shades on or play Pokesters? I'm just gonna lurk and see if people think my hobbies are red flags. Is lurking a hobby? Am I a red flag? Jetum. Dog fighting. Or coke fighting. You know, the bird one. What about the other one? Someone reading a ton of philosophy can easily be a very good sign, or a massive red flag depending on what specifically they're reading so much of. I'm sure they are out there, but I've never met anyone who announced they read a lot of philosophy who didn't turn out to be a bit of a koke. Maybe the fact they announce it is a red flag. Edit. Sweet. Sweet irony. If it comes up because it links to the conversation or they're really excited about what they read and want to talk about it, it's usually fine. It's when it seems to be a status thing that it's always a red flag. Just here to see how people really feel about my hobbies. Same lol, got slightly nervous BC. I'm an introvert who loves reading, knitting, and going to the gym. I've gotten made fun of a surprising amount for having knitting as a hobby lol. Well, harumph to that. I think it's a perfectly fine hobby. Shrines to people lol. When I first met my now late significant other, my son wanted to be sure he wasn't a killer and protect me. We were literally neighbors, so one day we walked to his house and my son said, "Let me see that you don't have pictures up of my mom with X's on them." He thought my son meant picture of his EXS. Nope. My kid just wanted to be sure there was no shrine to me somewhere with my face crossed out by Sharpie markers. Edit. Wow. Almost 7k upvotes. Thanks for making me feel internet famous today on my birthday and for the kind words about my family. Red heart. Probably just watched Hey Arnold. The sculpture made out of Arnold's used chewing gum is quite bone chilling in retrospect. I saw a post yesterday here about a guy that uses real mouse hearts and testicles and places them in a clear as in cast Lego man. I don't know what that is, but red flag. If I had a nickel for every time I saw someone referencing Lego Man, I'd only have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. If a person is so preoccupied with their social media that this person hasn't has time to actually live and communicate in the moment, it's fine if you can communicate about it and make arrangements. But I am not dating a person in a 3-way relationship with Zuckerberg. I would be totally fine with a person that has to have a heavy social media presence for work, but I would want to be able to set boundaries that work for both of us on it. Yay. My sister-in-law talks about influencers as if they are her friends IRL. I can't have a conversation with her without her taking out her phone and showing me someone she followed before they got famous. It's exhausting and honestly awful to talk with her. Her husband, my brother, has suggested she see a counselor about it and believes she genuinely thinks in her head she knows these people. Edit. Guys, she's in her late 40s. I'm sure there's similar posts in English, but I recently watched a French YouTuber do a kind of SAR to his own community. I am not your friend. He was taking a step back on the weird parasocial relationships that form between viewers and entertainers. So maybe look up parasocial relationships and see if you find something that could speak to your soul. Collecting blood slides. My friend had one next to his table next to his AC unit. When I asked him about, he gave me this weird smile and claimed it was for work. I never had beers with him since. Surprise mother ducker. Man, they did oaks wrong. I'm pretty wary of anyone that push other people to turn their hobby into a money-making hustle. Empty alcohol bottle collecting. Do university students get a free pass on this one? It's the norm here in a UK university. Larger the set of bottles the better. Yes, that's just a dumb college kid thing, but if you're 35 doing it, the train to sad town is chugging along. If their identity is centered around Disney, sorry, I said it. Yuck. Disney adults are the worst. Don't get me wrong. I love a few movies and have a few bits of Nightmare Before Christmas decor around my house. but the kind that live in my area, Tampa Bay, and have annual passes and spend every weekend there? Big yikes. I have a cousin who engineered a massive split in the extended family by having her wedding at Disney World in Florida. She expected all the invitees to fly there from around the country and stay at the resort itself, and a bunch of family members opted out entirely because of how expensive it was. She ended up feuding even with the family members who went but stayed at cheaper places in the Orlando area. I was fortunate enough to be too distant a relation to get an invite in the first place. On a first date, casually talking, and well, you know, I guess there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? 4. What? There's 4 ways to skin a cat. Like an orange in a spiral, so it's one long strip. According to college biology, there is only one way to skin a cat properly, preferably a dead one. Edit. Spelling. Adopting too many kids' animals, especially when you can't afford them. So, got any hobbies? I collect children. Arguing with strangers on the internet, not like usual discussions or anything, just taunting people because you're bored. How, what a silly comment. I bet you wear socks with sandals. No, I wear socks in the shower. Anything that they can't really afford. Making $50,000 but collecting Rolex watches? Red flag. Making $40,000 but always buying haute couture fashion items? Red flag. Making any amount of money and into Warhammer? Red flag. Anything that they can't really afford. Making $50,000 but collecting Rolex watches? Red flag. My sister got into a relationship with a guy who was a fake businessman and drove around in hugely expensive cars, except he didn't really seem to own them for long. His excuse was that he always needed to free up capital for his next investment. When they split up, he owed around $40,000 to car leasing companies who he'd fooled into giving him flash cars on low deposit high repayment lease plans that he'd inevitably then default on, and the car would be repossessed. I am reasonably well off and I would tell her there was no way he was properly financing high-end Porsche and Mercedes cars and that he was either defaulting on payments or he had some criminal side hustle. He just said I was jealous of his success. She eventually figured out I was right. Not Warhammer but a dice goblin here. Guilty. Forcing their children into pageants, cheerleading, gymnastics, shit tons of crazies treat this shit like it's their hobby, and it's a massive red flag. I was the happiest person on earth the day my daughter agreed to quit recreational cheerleading. The other mothers were so damn toxic. I used to sit in my car during practice to avoid them. And they probably still talked shit about you because you would wait in your car. Just can't win with those people. Gambling. Casino dealer here. It's almost never a hobby. One of my peers, who had a successful career in the medical industry, started playing poker religiously a couple years ago completely out of the blue. As soon as he wakes up, he starts gambling on multiple applications on his phone. He plays every evening, whether it's with friends or just random people. He started with no low stakes and has worked his way up to higher and higher stake games. He used to be interested in live music, art, gaming. He would hang out with friends when gambling wasn't involved. He had to move back in with his parents and stop buying weed, a 24/7 habit since he was 10 or 12. Not sure if that's related to his addiction to poker. He won't say why he has had to give up so much recently. Still, all he talks about is when he is going to the casino next. I'm just really into Hitler. No, I lure of him, not just his outfit. What about those sexual anime figurines? I get liking anime, but when your room is full of jailbait anime girls in bathing suits or nude poses, there's something not so chill going on there, lol. I used to live in Japan, and we would semi-regularly end up at a mall for some food. Get food, break a bill, get change. In Japan, the lowest paper note is about $10, so all the coins would go toward ice cream. Then whatever I had left I would take to the arcade and try to win the lewdest, crudest anime waifu figurine I could. One of my friends thought I actually wanted one and got me a Nami figure as a gift. I wasn't going to not display it, but it was hilarious to explain what the story was every time someone new came over. The spiritual nonsense, like the really outlandish stuff, like sunning your butthole. Sorry, hard pass. I for one refuse to recognize butthole sunning as spiritual. Think of the sunburn PPL. Doll collectors. I'm not gonna enter a house full of dolls. My grandma, born in 1929, an extremely poor child during the Depression, and a few of her sisters collected dolls. They did it because they never had any as a child and could finally afford them. And bonus points for the dolls having clothes and shoes and hairstyles they wish they had growing up. After working in the industry, I won't ever judge someone with a doll collection. A vast majority of those who collect dolls have PTSD, anxiety, Down syndrome, and other disabilities or illnesses. A lot of them suffered from miscarriages and are seeking baby dolls as a way to cope. A lot of elderly folks seek out comfort from dolls, especially those with dementia. Influencing. Back in 1990 we had them. They were called commercials, then infomercials, then the shit became ridiculous. Such a disturbing phenomena. Was in line at a touristy ice cream shop near me and the line was probably 20 deep at that point. 3 women approach the counter and ask for samples of various kinds. It was their turn in line. So fine. Next thing you know, one whips herself up and starts making a live video of how they just discovered this place. They spent the next 2 minutes sucking their samples off mini spoons for their fans. People still waiting in line were just like, get out of the way. They never actually ordered anything. For me, these women epitomize idiocy of influencing. They never actually discover anything but pretend they're the first person to experience things. So fake. Influencers are nothing more than the popular people in high school that never grew up and peaked in high school. They crave constant attention. It's usually the female version of the football players who hang out at bars in their Letterman jackets talking about going to state. Constant selfie posting. Posting everything. Every single thing on social media. Reddit mod. When their only hobby seems to be consuming and repeating hyper-partisan media talking points. Not having a hobby at all is probably up there. Having a hobby or something productive engaging to do in your spare time is pretty important to living a healthy life. If you've met a person with no hobbies, you'll know exactly what I mean. They tend to shit talk when they are bored, can't fully contribute to many types of conversations, and can be boring to talk to because they don't have a whole heck of a lot to talk about. I have a terrible habit of dropping hobbies I pick up, so I go through these motions a lot whenever I don't keep myself busy outside of work. Consuming media can be a great conversation starter, but it's harder to build deeper connections with other people if you don't have any passions of your own to share or relate to. It isn't necessarily a red flag, but it is notable when someone doesn't have a hobby. Edit. I figured I'd mention that I am indeed a boring person. I mention it because I'll live it LMAO. Collecting vintage preserved human anatomical specimens. I actually worked with someone who did that. Boy, did I wish I'd never accepted the invite to come over and meet him and his boyfriend's babies. Making fake animal rescue videos, abusing animals, hurting and making fun of homeless people for content. Weed, alcohol, substance as a personality trait. My brother dated a woman who collected animal bones and human teeth, but didn't like animals alive. Cringe. Ingesting a bunch of alpha male content. Watching Gore sending Gore vids to their friends. I had a roommate like this. He started watching all kinds of Gore and Pain Olympic videos. It gave him some sort of superiority complex since he became desensitized to Gore, and he would always try to get me watch videos with him. Likely so I would be grossed out and he wouldn't, as some sort of alpha move or something. Fast forward a month and I found our other roommate lying in a pool of blood on the bathroom floor, barely conscious. Where was our super alpha Chad roommate at when our friend was dying in our bathroom? He ran out of the room and slept at the neighbors, leaving me to keep our roommate awake while the paramedics showed up and eventually mop up all the blood. The one roommate lived, and last I heard is doing well. The other guy can go duck himself. Collecting Nazi memorabilia. I'm not sure if this counts as a hobby per se, but I can't stand people who get really into astrology, like, won't date somebody because Leo and Aquarius signs conflict or whatever, or judges a person based on their star sign. They're insinuating that there are only 12 different kinds of people personalities based on when they were born within the year. It doesn't make sense. At least with crystals, they make for a nice decoration. League of Legends. Collecting body parts. Whoa, You made it to the end, you're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.